Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the APL Apollo Tubes Limited Q4 FY21 conference call hosted by IIFL Securities Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Urvil Bhatt from IIFL Securities Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of IIFL Securities, I welcome you all to APL Apollo Tubes 4Q FY21 results conference call. On the call today, we have APL Apollo Tubes management team being represented by Mr. Sanjay Gupta, Chairman and MD, Mr. Deepak Goyal, CFO, Mr. Arun Agarwal, COO, and Mr. Anubhav Gupta, CSO. So let's begin the call with the key thoughts from the management. Thereafter, we can open the floor for Q&A session. Over to you, Anubhav, for your opening remarks.
Thanks, Urvil, and thanks, Malika. It's a real pleasure to be here. I welcome everyone on the conference call of APL Apollo for the FY21 results. Like I said, it gives us pleasure to be here and discuss our performance for the fiscal of FY21, which was one of the most challenging years in our history. At the same time, I am proud to tell you that Team APL Apollo has converted the crisis into an opportunity and delivered the best fiscal year ever. We saw record improvements in our P&L, which was driven by margin expansion, our balance sheet, which was driven by the debt reduction, our cash flows, which was driven by the working capital enhancement. Some of the achievements I want to highlight are, number one, EBITDA growth of 40% for full year and PAT growth of 50% despite flat sales volume. Market share expanded to 50% from 40% in the structural steel tube markets in India. Our net working capital cycle down to 8 days from 25 days as we switched to cash and carry model, and which has been very well accepted in the industry, and we believe that this should continue going forward. This kind of working capital cycle is best in the building material industry as well. Our net debt, which is down by 80% to 1.6 billion INR from 8 billion INR in last 12 months. Our value-added product contribution improved to 57% in FY21 from 45%. Now again, it's a real pleasure to share with you that this journey started 3-4 years ago when our value-added product mix was 40-60. Now it's moving towards 60-40. Our ROC jumped to 26% from 18%, and our ROE jumped to 25% from 21%. The company generated operating cash flow of almost 1,000 crores, 10 billion INR in FY21, and free cash flow generation of around 6 billion INR, which helped us reduce our debt. Then we also started the group simplification process with the announcement of Apollo Tricoat Tubes merger into APL Apollo Tubes. This process was initiated in February of 2021 and is going mostly on track. At the same time, we also demonstrated our commitment to the sustainability and ESG compliance for our organization. I'm glad to share that we roped in one of the Big Four consultants who is helping us with the compliance. Over the next few quarters, you will see that how we are going to comply with the GRI guidelines and how we are going to monitor the ESG compliance for the next 2-3 years. And lastly, what we worked on is a new market creation, which has been the strength for APL Apollo Group towards the high diameter, high thickness tubes, which is one of our most focus areas for the next 4 to 5 years. Specifically on the quarter 4 FY21, a few highlights we like to share is that the quarter 4 had started on a very strong note as the Q3 economy, in Q3 the Indian economy had started to open up. However, the quarterly sales volume was slightly lower than Q3 because in Jan-Feb the markets took some breather after a record momentum what we saw from May of 2020 till December 2020. After 40-50 days of breather, we had strong momentum which started in month of March, and it continued till early weeks of April as well, before the lockdown was initiated again. Our value-added portfolio in quarter 4 was 60%, again similar to what we had in Q3. So this shows that we are on a sustainable path of having 55-60% contribution coming from the value-added products. And our margins were again above 4,500 rupees per ton, as the unorganized sector continued to struggle due to raw material supply. So this led to strong pull demand in the industry for products of the branded players, and it kept our margin high. Lastly, on FY22 outlook, we started Q1 with good momentum, but the second wave hit the country very badly, and we witnessed simultaneous lockdowns which were being announced by various state governments. Today, as we speak, it seems the worst is behind us, and the market should start opening in month of June and July. So this gives us some visibility for the rest of FY22. But we are monitoring the situation very closely at the same time, as things are changing on daily and weekly basis. That being said, our long-term strategy remains unchanged for the group, which is based on value addition, cost control, innovation, new market creation, and brand equity enhancement. With this strategy, we are confident of sustainable double-digit growth in non-pandemic period with superior net profit growth. With this, we'll finish our opening remarks, and we can open the floor for Q&A. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Dhruv Jain from Ambit Company. Please go ahead.
Hi guys, congratulations on a great set of numbers. I had questions around the value-added product basket. Now in FY21, we have seen that you have been able to drive this to the targets that you had set out for yourself earlier. So just wanted your thoughts that in the last 2 quarters we've seen volume decline and flattish kind of volume. So as we move to a more value-added kind of product basket, has the growth taken a little bit of hit because of that? And connecting question to that would be that going forward with respect to value-added products, how do you see this changing? Can this 60% go to like 70%? And what actually changed in FY21, at least in the last 2 quarters, that led to a significant spike in the value-added product basket?
Hi Dhruv, good evening. So coming to the first part of your question, that given that our value-added product mix is improving, so does this mean that our overall sales volume is going down? That's not correct, Dhruv, because if you see that when in Q1 FY21, when everyone was hit from the lockdown, in Q2 our company had reported the strongest quarter, which was 480,000 ton of sales volume. And in Q3 we saw the economy opening up and we again did 485,000 ton of sales volume. So we could maintain those record volumes. So right from month of May till December 2020, we had a record momentum. Okay, we increased our market share to 50% from 40%. Our rural sales contribution improved significantly. We were working on the value-added product portfolio at the same time. So it was pretty much expected, Dhruv, that the market should take breather in quarter 4, and it started from mid of January. right? The distributors who were sitting on a bit of high inventory levels, they wanted to cool down their inventory levels, and like I said, that was pretty much expected. But at the same time, what was happening was that the secondary sales were not impacting because the construction activity in India was still going strong in month of Jan, Feb. Okay, so we had our ears on the ground. We didn't bother much because we knew that once the inventory levels come down to normalized levels, there will be strong demand coming from distributors at the same time. So after a gap of few weeks, we saw that in month of March we had a strong momentum building up, and March was really strong. Okay, so if that breather hadn't come in Jan Feb, we would have touched again 480,000-490,000 ton kind of volume. With this sales mix 60-40, it will go to 65-35 also, 70-30 also. We don't see dip in any volume.
Okay, thanks, Anubhav, for this. And a question with respect to the growth going forward. So, should we assume a mid-teen kind of growth in terms of volumes going forward? I understand that FY22 can be a little bit of hit because of the lockdown, but on a sustainable 4 or 5 year point of view, should we assume that to be the guidance?
So Dhruv, again, I mean, before I answer this question, you had another question when you had raised it around, like what kind of value addition contribution that can come from our company, right? So today we are sitting at 60-40, right? And this is not this didn't happen in 1 year. Okay, it's the hard work which we have been doing for last 4-5 years. We have been innovating. We have been coming out with new sizes. We have been creating new markets, right? So this all of this process takes time, right? And we were continuously investing our time, our energy, our money towards those objectives. And then suddenly you saw that in FY21 there is a big jump in the value addition. But if you look at right from FY16, slowly, gradually, we have been able to improve our mix. Like from 40-60, today we are 60-40. It's not a 1 year journey, it's a 5 year journey, which started right in FY15-16 with a lot of planning, a lot of investments, a lot of thought process, and a lot of strategy which came into play as well. So this is like, pretty much sustainable on sustainable basis. This is not 1 year phenomena or 2 year phenomena. This goes with a very, very clear thought process, carved out strategy, which we started in FY15. And on volume growth, see, I mean, we were so excited when we had started FY22. That whatever revenue loss, volume loss we witnessed in FY20, we could make out in FY21, FY22. But again, the country got badly hit. So I guess today, it's difficult to say that what we are going to do in FY22. But what I can tell you is that in non-pandemic years, right, when things are normal, our system is well established, well oiled to deliver high-digit double volume growth. With incremental volume coming from the value-added products, right? So when we say that we are continuously decommoditizing our product portfolio, that journey will continue.
Great. Thanks a lot, Anubhav, and all the best in the future.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Bharat Shah from ASK Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I actually didn't have any question, but I wanted to place on record my appreciation. 1,000 crore of operating cash flow, almost 600 plus crores of free cash. Adjusted for the minority stake, almost 65 rupees per share of operating cash and 43-44 of free cash is a remarkable achievement. And I think it has been strategic and not happenstance. So congratulations, Sanjay ji, and to the entire team. And
thank you, brother. Thank you.
Phenomenal across the board on all qualitative parameters, not just quantitative numbers. I think it's a remarkable one. And quality of the disclosure and the level of detail given again deserve appreciation. So many, many congratulations.
Thank you, Bharat bhai. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Devrat Mohta from Capital Group. Please go ahead.
Hi. Thank you so much for your time and congratulations on solid results. I just have one question. So, from our channel checks, we've been hearing of, raw material shortages. Can you just talk through firstly what are you all doing to, kind of deal with this challenge of procuring raw materials? And secondly, what does this mean for, market share consolidation? Because I'm assuming if you all are finding it tough to source raw materials, smaller competitors will find it a lot harder. Would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you.
Your question is answered.
Yeah. We have a long-term agreement with the steel plants like the Tata Steel and the JSW Steel. And we have a long-term MOU from last 10 to 15 years. So we have no such as a big problem. But no doubt in this time when the country is shortage of steel, we have suddenly difficult to increase our quantity. But whatever commitment we have done with the Tata Steel and the JSW, they are both are our main suppliers. We have no difficulty to take the procurement of the raw material. And now we are slowly entering with the small quantity with SAIL and SR also. So I don't think the raw material is a big problem for us.
And what about market share implications from, smaller competitors struggling to gain struggling to gain raw materials? Will your market share go up because of this?
Yeah, no doubt. In the primary steel, the smaller players are getting now badly hit. So they are losing the market shares and the organized and big players are getting more and more market.
Okay. And एक और follow-up question. Our working capital has improved quite substantially last 1 year. How much of this do you think sustains versus you think, some of it goes back to normal? I know I've asked you this question before, would love to hear your thoughts again though.
Now we are not going to increase our working capital cycle. ठीक है, कभी like अभी थोड़ा लॉकडाउन हुआ है तो we have a long term agreement with the steel plants तो उसका हमारा थोड़ा stock level बढ़ जाए. But that we are 100% in control. We don't want to force sale to any single ton of tubes. We as per the demand and our distribution systems, we are supplying the material. We are not any compromise with the payments. Maybe this quarter due to the lockdown, some stock हमारा थोड़ा बढ़ सकता है. But we are trying अगर अभी भी lockdown खुल गया तो we cover it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All the best.
So, Devas, just one point I want to add here is that, this working capital enhancement, what we have seen, this is not a phenomena that's going to last for only like few quarters. Okay, it is more like it has become a practice for APL Apollo and its clients also, right? So majority of working capital enhancement what we saw is because of the reduction in the debtor days, receivable days.
Correct.
So the kind of additional margin they are making on cash discounts, right? Then we are compensating them against the low inventory level what they are keeping in their godowns versus what they have to do with other brands, right? And the overall discipline which has come in the industry. Again, with the second lockdown which took place, that discipline again is in the minds of all the participants, right from the distributor to the retailer to the fabricator, right? So I guess this is a very structural long-term phenomena what we are seeing for ourselves, and as long as it is not forced, right, it is by choice. We think that this is going to be sustainable.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thanks, Anubhav. Thanks, Sanjay ji.
Thank you, Devrat.
Thank you.
Malika, you there?
Yes, sir. Just give me a minute. The next question is from the line of Madhav Marda from FIL. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, sir. Good evening, and thank you so much for your time, and congrats on very good set of numbers. I just wanted to get your thoughts on a couple of things. The first one was the Raipur expansion. If you could just give us an update in terms of when that plant starts, and I think how much of the capacity comes in the first phase of the expansion, and also the kind of product portfolio that we will be doing at Raipur. If you could just give us your thoughts on that.
Madhav, now again, due to the corona and lockdown, we are behind by 2 or 3 months, I think so. But we are thinking our first production come out with the Raipur plant in the month of December. And in the first phase, we are close to 0.5 million ton of capacity. And this is totally different product of basket, whatever we have now in our baskets. Like in this, we have it going for the bigger sections, 500 square into up to 20 mm for the high-rise buildings, and the color pipe for the decorative tubes. So these are lot of type of new addition, new innovation in this plant. And hopefully we start this plant in the month of December, and in the first phase for Q4 or either Q1 FY22, we are targeting annualized 0.5 million ton capacity we can utilize.
Okay, understood. And the margins, because if these are value-added products, the margins will be better versus our existing portfolio?
Yes, margins are no doubt far better than the existing product, and you also see that in the future in the results, our existing margins are also increasing, because our too much we are focusing on the margins. We are not compromising with the margins. Some part of our commodity business, we are not taking care of the margins, and we are going for the volumes. But in the value-added product, we are increasing our market share as well as margin both, because we have done lot of innovations, lot of investment in this sector, and we are getting the results. Very soon you see the results.
And Madhav, these products like 500 by 500 square diameter tubes or color coated tubes, these are the products which are being introduced in India for the first time, right? So given that the competitive intensity is going to be so low or maybe zero for first few quarters or years, so it is like it is a clear fundamental that the margins have to be higher here.
Good. And my second question was, our balance sheet will be almost net cash, and I think in the next couple of years, even if we do the capacity expansion, our balance sheet will have cash building up. So is there any sort of acquisition opportunity that you all see, or what do we plan to do with the cash which is building up on the balance sheet?
No, Madhav, I don't think any acquisition is available in India of our nature, because we are totally innovative type of player. I don't want to go into again in the commodity business. I want to change in the business with the high margins. So in India, I'm totally focusing on the new type of products, new type of markets, new type of distribution network. So I don't think so कि हमारे नेचर के यहाँ पर इंडिया में any good business available है, and we have also a good long-term plan of a 4 million ton up to EBITDA margin of 6-7 rupees kilo in the next few years. So I don't think so कि we are going for any acquisition. Small little bit any कोई acquisition या कोई job work के लिए हमको किसी company में first stake डाल के job work कराने का होगा तो we can look in this matter, but otherwise we have no planning.
Understood, sir. That's very nice to hear. And so my last question was, we've been investing on building the brand in terms of increasing the brand spending. Could you just update us on what the plan would be for this year in terms of any sort of commercials, etc., that we are planning to do? Because that, I think...
Yeah. The branding, we are not going behind. With branding, we are going more aggressive and aggressive. But now we change our branding now to focus up to, we are now want to expand our bigger sections, bigger dia and color pipes. We are more focusing on this type of products. Like अभी हमने काफी oxygen plants और hospitals पर I think investment में डाला.
Yeah, sure. So if I request you to go to slide number 26. That's what we are referring to in our presentation.
But we are good number of inquiries with us, and this is also very helpful to government of India to help in Corona. We are targeting to start hospitals of almost 500 beds in 3 months, and oxygen plants within 15 days. And we received orders also. We are getting started receiving order also. So we are working on this type of things too much, and in this process, we are very hopeful to this may help us to increase the volume of bigger sections dia.
So Madhav, just to add here, like if you see last 2 quarters, we have been spending around 8 to 9 crores of ad spends per quarter. That was a run rate when it was in FY20 before the pandemic hit. So as the quarters got normalized, we are back on spending 8-9 crores per quarter of ad spend. Over and above, what we are trying to do is the targeted branding, targeted marketing for our exclusive products.
Got it. Okay, thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Pallav Agarwal from Antique Stock Broking. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. We just had a question on, the impact of the higher steel prices. So, are we seeing some pushback in terms of demand, or are people accepting these, high steel prices?
Yeah, there is some sluggishness in some sectors. There is a demand pullback because of the secondary steel is also very cheap. So we are playing in the primary steel. So there is some hit in the market swing. I think which I can say is our primary steel structural market in India is close to 2 million ton. Is now shrink to 1.7, 1.6 million ton. But we are managing to take the market share, increasing our market share from 40 to 50. Now I think we are almost crossed 60%. So we are covering from there. But there is a pressure in some sectors. There is a pressure due to the steel price hike.
So if I compare, as you said, if I compare with say secondary players who are probably using the patra or scrap food, so what would be the cost, basically advantage that they would be having compared to primary players?
Yeah, there's too much difference between patra and steel. I think the difference is almost 10,000 rupees per ton,
which is like 10-12%.
Sure, and the margins itself are the EBITDA spread itself is 4,000 to 5,000 rupees per ton. So in that context, quite significant. Yes, sir. Thank you. So also just on so what would be our capex guidance for the next 2 years, and any debt to EBITDA? I mean, now we are almost net debt free. But any net debt to EBITDA targets that we have in over the long term?
Our target is close to 20 to 25% of the EBITDA margin.
As a capex spend?
Yeah, for the capex.
Sure, sir. Okay. And I mean, as you said, because of the lockdown, maybe this year there will not be any volume guidance versus our normal 15-20%.
No. We are not afraid from the lockdown. We're just waiting for our term. I'm still hopeful. We are going almost achieve our numbers, very close to numbers.
Okay, so can we assume so that this year, I mean, despite the lockdown, we'll have probably a 10-15% volume growth in FY22 over FY21?
Still, there is no third wave, we can manage it.
Sure, sir. Okay, sir. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rahul Agarwal from InCred Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity. Just two questions. So firstly, on the CapEx, which earlier participant was asking. So basically, you said 20% of EBITDA is your annual budget. That basically translates to about 175 crores a year. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And on the Raipur plant, what is the total CapEx we have planned for?
No, as in total CapEx as in?
Then I thought the total capacity planned is about 900,000 to about 1 million tons. Phase 1 was about 500,000 tons.
Total plan is going to 4 million ton across the group. Like today we are 2.6 million ton. In the next 2-3 years we are targeting to achieve 4 million ton.
Okay, so basically, if I look at March 22, we will be close to 2.6. So we'll increase our utilization.
Close to 3 million ton.
So Rahul, right now we are at 2.6 million ton. There are two mills which are being added, 200,000 ton of 500 by 500 square diameter and 200,000 ton of color coated tube. This will take our capacity to 3.0 million ton by FY22. And then we have further expansion plans, which is budgeted in 25% of EBITDA as capex spends. So that will take our capacity to 4.0 million ton over the next 2-3 years.
Got it. Any specific clarity could you provide in terms of capacity additions? Any thoughts?
So the product basket is going to remain in the value-added products, new market creation, and within the existing portfolio where we think we require geographical expansion, right? So we'll set up new mills there. So it'll be mix of brownfield expansion and new product addition.
Okay, got that. The second question was on EBITDA per ton. So when I look back 5 years, fiscal 17 to 21, EBITDA per ton moves between 3,600 to 4,200 per ton. This year we've exited at 4,700, 4,750 almost, and our average for this year was about 4,200. My sense is, given your increase in value-added product share as well as the new Raipur capex is also a high margin business. This 5,000 per ton of target. Sanjay ji is also talking about 6,000-7,000 per ton into next 3 years.
No, not overall. For the Raipur new project.
For the new project only. Okay.
6,000-7,000. This our 2.6 million ton. We are targeting 5,000 rupees ton.
Okay, got it. So, what role does the higher steel price play here? As in, if let's say there is a 30% correction in steel prices, what really happens to this number? Any sensitivity?
Now we have a very less inventory we are carrying. We are carrying almost 15 days or 14 days or 20 days, less than 20 days inventory. And 6-7 days to 8 days we have an order book also in our hand. So 10-12 days inventory, I don't think so give me any major hit or major gain.
Got it. So only difference is between inventory gain and losses. Otherwise, this
इन्वेंट्री गेन और लॉस में बड़ा नहीं है ना. 10-12 दिन के स्टॉक में क्या इन्वेंट्री गेन होगा, क्या लॉस होगा.
सही बात है. ठीक है सर, समझ गया.
Rahul, that's what we have done over the last 2-3 years. That how we are making our system shock proof. Okay, by becoming more efficient, by keeping lower inventory in absolute terms, and converting commodity into our value-added products at much faster rate in much efficient and effective manner. So this reduces the overall risk of any fluctuation in the steel prices when we are sitting on such low inventory levels.
I got that. Thank you so much and all the best. Thanks for answering questions.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sujit Jain from ASK Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Sanjay ji and team, congratulations and very delighted to see the OP per ton. संजय जी, आपने जो बोला था कि पिछले क्वार्टर में कि जो अचीव किया उसके नीचे नहीं जाएंगे, so you achieved that, so congratulations. My question is about the large players such as JSW and Tata. In terms of structural tubes, what is their market share or their volumes that would be there? Tata Pravesh, which would be in competition with Tricoat, I believe. So if we do a volume of 231,000, which I believe is the highest in that particular segment, how much Tata's would be or any other large company would be in terms of volume in that segment? And one last question is on the dividend policy. You've spoken in the last quarter that you will finalize the policy about cash buyback, dividend, etc. Now that the cash flows are very strong, have you finalized that policy? And if you can, share some views on that.
First of all, about the Tata Pravesh and Tata Doorframe, it's very clear कि हमारा और उनका जो प्रोडक्ट जो ये डेफिनेशन बहुत डिफरेंट है. They are in the total solutions and high end. उनका एक डोर फ्रेम का सोल्यूशन जो है लगभग आई थिंक सो मे बी आई करेक्ट 20 से 25,000 रुपये का पड़ता है. आई एम इन द वेरी लो एंड. हमारा एक डोर फ्रेम का सोल्यूशन मुश्किल से 7-8 हज़ार रुपये का पड़ता है. दे आर टारगेटिंग ये टायर 1 सिटी, आई एम टारगेट टायर 2, टायर 3 रूरल एरिया सिटीज. तो और प्लस हमारा और उनका डिजाइन भी बहुत डिफरेंट है. तो वी हैव 0% कंपटीशन विद टाटा प्रवेश. हमारा उनसे कोई भी कंपटीशन नहीं है. Number 2, about the dividend policy, we are still on our remark. Dividend policy हमको जो हमने maintain कर रखी थी वही करनी है. But due to the corona time and some capex and the buyback planning, तो इसके कारण we are just deferring for the 2 years that our dividend policy. Last year we have skipped and this year we skipped. Now I think from this year we are on the track.
Sure. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amit Jeswani from Stallion Asset. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hi, sir. My question, sir. Hi. Sorry. I was on mute. Hi, sir. My question is about the growth part. So you've got the balance sheet 100% right now. You have paid off debt. Whatever you said 3-4 quarters back, you've delivered on that. My question is, sir, on the growth part, because that is now the most important part that will create the most value for APL Apollo. Sir, you've been saying 10-15% growth, but Sanjay ji, you've typically been growing at 20% around that on the volume side. Do you think that kind of growth is possible for the next 4-5 years? And since you've been increasing capacity by 50-60% now, we are at 1.6 million tons. ये 3 साल में सर कहाँ तक जाएगा?
बॉस, अगर आप मेरे से पूछोगे, we have a vision for 2025 4 million tons.
Got it.
2025 we have vision of 4 million tons. इसके हिसाब से हम कैपेसिटी धीरे-धीरे slowly increase कर रहे हैं without hampering our balance sheet and cash flow. And रहा जो ये प्रोजेक्ट में हमारा पिछले 1.5 साल से ग्रोथ जो हमारा FY 19-20 को नहीं क्रॉस कर पा रहा है, उसमें some रीजन्स मैंने आपका तो सबसे बड़ा पैंडेमिक कोरोना टाइम हो गया. कुछ स्टील्स के भी प्राइसेस के अप डाउन्स ने भी डिमांड को हिट किया था. लाइक स्टील प्राइसेस बढ़े तो बहुत सारे प्रोजेक्ट रुके हुए हैं. बट जहाँ कहीं पर भी जाके ये सब चीजें रीनेगोशिएट होंगी, प्रोजेक्ट्स चालू होंगे, तो आई डोंट थिंक कि हिंदुस्तान में डिमांड इज एनी प्रॉब्लम. नंबर 2, टुडे इंडिया इज ऑलमोस्ट स्टील कंजम्पशन ऑफ 120 मिलियन टन के आसपास स्टील कंजम्पशन है. इसका हम बात करें तो 8-10% ट्यूब सेक्टर है. में 10 मिलियन टन के आसपास टोटल ट्यूब, आप इसमें सारे टाइप के ट्यूब मिला दो, टोटल 10 मिलियन टन के आसपास ट्यूब है. नाउ द गवर्नमेंट and all the experts are thinking कि this is going to touch very soon to 200 million ton. In China is almost close to 1,000 million ton. तो अगर इंडिया में जिस हिसाब से स्टील में अगर ग्रोथ आएगी तो ट्यूब भी उसी हिसाब से अगर 200 मिलियन टन का 10% 20 मिलियन टन हो जाता है. 20 मिलियन टन का अगर आज हमने यहाँ पर अपना हमारा टोटल ओवरऑल ट्यूब का 20-25% ये मार्केट कैप्चर करते हैं, तो आप ये समझो कि 20 मिलियन टन का 25% 5 मिलियन टन तो ऑटोमेटिक ही पहुंच जाएंगे.
राइट. Right, sir. Right, sir. Right, sir. Just thank you so much for whatever, sir, you're doing. You're doing a great job, and please continue doing this thing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jatin Damania from Securities. Please go ahead.
Congratulations, sir, on the great set of numbers. So just wanted to check now, since we have started this second wave and in months of April and May, we have seen the impact of the lockdown. So taking that into consideration, what sort of volume we are seeing in the first quarter and what sort of profitability we are estimating?
First quarter, we are thinking our volume is maybe depend on the lockdown, but between 70 to 90%. 70%, or maybe we cross 90%. But it depends on when the lockdown opening. If the lockdown opening next few days, so we can close to 90%. Or if the lockdown go longer, so maybe we are close to 70 to between 80%.
And sir, how was the trend in the month of April?
Sorry, Mr. Damania, so there's a disturbance coming from your line. Request you to mute your line while the management answers your question.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sir.
April we are on track. April we have no problem.
Okay.
And margin wise we are on the safer side. We have no problem at all.
So can we continue to deliver what we delivered in the Q4, or it will be marginally lower than that?
I think higher than this.
Okay, higher than this. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rahul Agarwal from ICICI Prudential. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good evening all, and congratulations on a great year. Sir, most of my questions have been answered. Just a couple of, we talked about the hospitals, oxygen, and the cold storage. If you could just give some idea about the kind of volume uptick that can bring, and the current, what is the order book looking like currently?
This exercise we just started a few months back. If you see in the Economic Times and a lot of newspaper, we are also giving a very good ads, full page ad also. Now we have a order book is very less right now. I think we have order in the tonnage. I know about the tonnage in लोग square foot तो मेरे को नहीं समझ में आता. But tonnage में हमारे पास 2,000-3,000 टन के orders होंगे अभी. But we are very hopeful कि जैसा हमारा एक state government से बातचीत चल रहा है. I can't disclose the name because not yet the order is finalized. He is behind us for almost 400 crore of order size, single order size of 400 crore. इसी तरह हमारा बुलेट ट्रेन में काफी हमारी बातचीत चल रही है. तो जिस हिसाब से वहां से सिग्नल आ रहा है, सिग्नल इज वेरी गुड. बट जब तक जमीन पर नहीं उतरेगा, और वी आर ओनली वन हु कैन सप्लाई दिस मटेरियल अदर देन इंपोर्ट्स. तो जब तक ये चीजें जमीन पर नहीं उतरेगी, आई कांट से एनीथिंग, बिकॉज इफ वी सी द डेवलप्ड कंट्री मार्केट्स लाइक यूएसए, आई स्टडी लॉट ऑफ, वहां पर जो हमारे तरह के प्लेयर है, वहां पर लाइक ए प्लेयर ऑफ जैकलमैन इंडस्ट्रीज, he is making 2.4 million ton of tubes there. उसमें से 2.4 million ton में से 1.3 million ton के आसपास 50% is bigger sections. तो इंडिया को डेवलप होने में कितना टाइम लगेगा, we don't know. Some of people are doing very good job in this industry. Like Tata Steel is doing very well to develop this market. We are doing very well in to develop this market. और कोई एक आधा प्लेयर भी हमारे साथ जुड़ गया, ये मार्केट डेवलप होगी तो एवरीबडी इज, होल इंडस्ट्री इज बेनिफिशियरी. उसमें जो हम थोड़ा ज्यादा कॉम्पिटिटिव है तो हमको, तो हम ज्यादा मैंने फोकस हुए हैं तो हमको ज्यादा बेनिफिट मिलेगा. बट फॉर द ट्यूब इंडस्ट्री दिस इज वेरी वेरी, आई कैन से गुड सिग्नल फॉर द फ्यूचर.
And so you will be dealing with the government or with the contractor?
No, we are dealing with the contractor, but designs, on the part of design, we are dealing with the governments. Government first approve the designs, then they give the contract to their contractors, and through bidding, then the contractors give us the orders.
So Rahul, it is like telling the government to construct in a new way. Okay, right now they may be constructing using cement and concrete, or they may be constructing using conventional long steel products. This is a third technology. What we are promoting is doing the construction using structural steel tubes, right? So here are like 2-3 channel partners who are involved. One is the government or the developer who owns the project. Then there are the project consultants who are the structural engineers and architects. And then there is the contractor who's going to take the project for the execution. So what we are doing is that we are reaching out to the government, to the developer. Then we are reaching out to their consultants, and we are making them believe that if you switch to tubular construction, you're going to save at least 10 to 20% on the project cost basis, right? That encourages them to use tubular construction, right? So all of this exercise we started in last few quarters, and now that we are talking to a lot of private developers, a lot of state government agencies, central government agencies. So you'll see that over the next few quarters, there's going to be a good order book that will build up. And once there is clear demonstration of 1 or 2, 3 buildings, then it will be like wildfire, and we'll like to leverage it out very, very aggressively.
And so the first milestone is basically the government approval, which you're saying we have got in some places.
Yes. Government approval comes when government consultant, who can be a structural engineer or an architectural firm, they also agree to it. So first they agree, then the government agrees, and then yes, once it is in the design, then the EPC contractor has no authority to design. Then by default he has to build that building on tubes, and the kind of sizes, SKUs, what are being imbibed, that gives us like a good opportunity to have line market share there.
And Rahul, and the second thing also, now India is the net exporter of steel. For earlier years, India is the net exporter of steel. Now India is net exporter of steel. In the future, this is also very helpful to India. Like China is withdrawing from the export market, तो हम अपने ट्यूब सेगमेंट में भी देख रहे हैं धीरे-धीरे हमको एक्सपोर्ट का हमारा अपॉर्चुनिटी काफी बढ़ता जा रहा है. And in the bigger sections, we are getting very good response. Once our 500 square mills started, we are a lot of Canadian and US people are in touch with us to take this material. So, बाकी तो once when we deliver the numbers, then it's come to true. There is a difference between the lips and कहते हैं ना cup and lips के बीच में difference होता है. But we are very hopeful कि हम cup को ले जाएंगे lips के पास.
So that is another area. Then we need a detailed discussion later. But in terms of just this quarter, if I have to look at Jan, Feb, whatever volume if we would have done a normal quarter, let's say Q4, what kind of volume we could have touched?
We have almost close to 500,000 tons.
We could have touched 500 or something. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great, sir. Thanks and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. This question is from the line of Amar Maurya from Alpha Accurate. Please go ahead. Mr. Amar Maurya, your line is unmuted. Please go ahead with your question.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for the opportunity and congratulations for a very good set of numbers. Firstly, sir, just for the understanding, if you can help me, you give the breakup of all the volumes. So how do we calculate the value added? What all are included in the value added portion?
So Amar, there is a clear slide, slide number. Just a moment. Slide number.
I had Apollo Z, Apollo Tricord, Apollo Galvanized, Apollo Structure, right, and the general structure.
Yeah. So these are the products which are so general structure is commoditized, and anything apart from that is value added, where our margins are above 4,000 per ton.
Okay. So when we say that 60% is the value added, we are basically nulling off the general structure, and rest all we are considering it as the value added, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. And sir, secondly, in terms of the EBITDA per ton, this quarter also, despite the lower volume, we have been able to maintain our EBITDA per ton. So is it, and this is again in the rising commodity prices environment. So is it fair to assume that once the prices start tapering down, your EBITDA per ton would improve significantly, because your ability to probably pass on or to retain the EBITDA would be higher?
No. So Amar, if you look at our history, right, if you look at last 5-year EBITDA per ton and you look at this steel price fluctuation, okay, there is no correlation you will find in our EBITDA per ton and steel prices. Very little correlation. Okay. In FY 19 and 20, steel prices were going up, but we had a flat EBITDA per ton. Okay, because we were expanding our capacity, there was negative operating leverage. We had built up our capacities and economy wasn't doing well, so we had to do some of push sales, right? If that was the case, then in 1920 we could have demonstrated much better EBITDA per ton, but we couldn't, right? So this demonstrates that there is very little correlation between the steel price fluctuation and our EBITDA per ton, right? And as our system is becoming more and more shockproof, as we are becoming more efficient, more effective, and keeping inventory levels low, with the existing inventory of 150,000-160,000 tons, doing monthly volume of more than 160,000-170,000 tons. So these are all the measures what we have been taking to make our system shockproof, right? So even historically, you wouldn't see any correlation between our EBITDA per ton and steel fluctuation.
No, I completely agree with that. What I was trying to understand, since the realization, your commodity prices had gone up significantly. So does this, for a buyer, overall price is increasing. Does this limit you to pass or improve your profitability? And given that once the commodity prices are declining, you can probably, fully pass on your profitability to the dealer and distributor. I was trying to understand from that perspective.
Amar, see, steel being 75-80% of the value in our product, right? And forget APL Apollo, look at the Indian steel tube industry, or you look at the global steel tube industry. Now, can any player who is depending on 70-80% of the total product value on single commodity, right? If it goes plus minus 5%, can any player keep those margins onto his chest? No, right? So he has to immediately pass it on. So this is the business model which every company, whether in India or globally, has been working on, right? So there is a clear pass-through within 10-12 days of any revision, whether upward or downward. And this is a trend which has been there for many, many years, and not only in India, but globally also.
Got that. And lastly, sir, what would be the current utilization?
Right now, we are
almost 2.6 2 million ton on 1.6 होगा ना हमारा. Yeah. तो 1.6 into 100 divided by 2.6. अभी तो खड़ा हुआ क्या अभी तो 60-65%.
Average. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Darshit Shah from Nirvana Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir, and congratulations for such a fantastic result in FY21. So most of the questions have been answered. So I just want one question on the merger. So is there any deadline you would like to give some clarity when the merger probably would happen?
We are targeting it by month of December, but it is also depend on the government authorities.
Okay. So still, sir, the record that has not been finalized, right?
No.
Not yet.
It will be finalized in the last quarter, maybe.
Okay. Thank you, sir, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Raj Mehta from Raj Mehta Association. Please go ahead.
Sanjay sir, very big congratulations, and you have delivered the excellent results. Sir, my question is with respect to Apollo Tricord. Apollo Tricord में capacity utilization normal levels पे आएगा फिलहाल, but you have not catered to western part of India because तभी आपका plants eastern और south part में ज़्यादा था. So going forward, जब आप maybe we will get the merger by December. So how are you planning to cater to the places like Maharashtra or Pune, where there is a big residential real estate market? So if that picks up, so our products will be more utilized in those markets.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Mehta. So there's a disturbance coming from your line. Request you to mute your line, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mehta, first of all. Now, after the mergers, we have before we have a lot of bondation between the both of the company, but now we are free to put any facility anywhere in India in the existing plant. So now we are planning to put up more Tricord facilities in Raipur. From the Raipur we can capture deliver the all India market. So we are focusing now into Raipur plant to create this type of facilities in to capture the other part of the India.
Sir, but वो transportation में ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा अगर रायपुर से?
Because Raipur is nearby the raw material, तो इसलिए उससे ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ता है.
Okay. And Apollo Tricord revenue and profitability is how much as compared to APL Apollo's total consolidated profit and revenue? क्या percentage है at present?
At around it is contributing 15% to the EBITDA and 12% to the PAT.
Okay. And are you expecting this to be at much higher levels before the merger? Maybe for 9 months this can go up to 20% on EBITDA level, because आपका margin on Tricord business is higher compared to your normal value-added products in APL.
राज इसमें अभी हमने अलग अलग वर्किंग नहीं की क्योंकि अब हम दोनों को एक कंपनी मान के काम कर रहे हैं, तो इतना हमने अलग अलग वर्किंग किया नहीं अभी. So we can't right now we can't answer this question.
Okay, okay.
दोनों कंपनी को एक मान के काम कर रहे हैं.
Okay. No issue, sir. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Retail investor को बहुत hardly chance मिलता है सर कभी question पूछने में, and I'm very happy that.
Anytime you are most welcome, boss. हमारे भी retail बड़े सब एक बराबर है.
सर आपका एक खुशखबरी भी दूंगा, आपके जो इन्वेस्टर रिलेशन है उनसे भी मेरी बात होती है. He's been very polite and he answers very nicely when I ask questions through email and even to call. It's very good to Anubhav sir. Anubhav Gupta is doing that. Is doing it very greatly, sir. Just appreciation.
This is their job. आप हमारी कंपनी को देखते हैं. This is grateful for us. We are grateful to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the last question for today. I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Thanks, Malika, and thanks to IIFL team for hosting us for this call. Thanks to all the investors and analysts who joined us. Please be safe. Hopefully, we'll see you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. On behalf of IIFL Securities Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.